Good morning, everybody. Happy Tuesday. It's 7:20 a.m. Uh, we're gonna start off with the morning drama. Basically, guys, I think what happened, if you're not aware of things regarding Eminence, which is a new contract, new project that was deployed by Andre. He's also the creator of YFI. Um, Effectively, what happened was he created a project. He kind of hyped it up a little bit on Twitter that he was working on it. Um, and I think he staged his deployment. And again, this person is very infamous for working in production. That's literally what his bio says. As you can see, I test and prod. And so there's no, beta testing or anything like that where the contract cannot be usable. It's literally, as soon as it's ready to go, it's ready to go. And I think someone decided to exploit some of the vulnerabilities in the contract. And Andre, being the person that hyped it up a little bit, I think people jumped in and pushed that contract to some ridiculous. I don't know what the number was. Let me see. I have it on my Twitter right here. Yeah, so it was like some ridiculously high price, and then it pretty much went to zero. I think it was $16 million or so of money that was lost. But the point of the story is that things like this are going to happen in the DeFi space quite a bit. Okay, there's going to be exploits, there's going to be hacks. A lot of these products are, first of all, a bit on the edgy, risky side, and you should be more than aware of what you are investing into. If you're not aware, don't expect things to just keep going straight up. Also expect them to go to zero, literally overnight. Okay. So it is what it is. It happened. I'm sorry if anyone lost money, but please do be careful going forward. Even, the good developers or, people at the front of the space like Andre are capable of making mistakes and doing really dumb stuff. And I think, there's blame to be passed around to Andre, as well as the people who kind of, spontaneously just started jumping into the contract thinking, all right, this is it. This is going to make me rich like YFI did. And then they pretty much lost their money. All right. So I don't know how it's going to be rectified, but I hope it does for anyone who got in. The point is, be careful. All right. Now on to Bitcoin. Okay. So last night, before I went off to bed, I stated yesterday that when we were in this area, okay, so let me map this out again. When we had this big drop, I stated that this is not as bearish as most may think. The fact that we were above the pivot right here, which is this is the weekly pivot. We were last night, at least when I did the video, we were above this area. But again, obviously we came back inside the range, but now we're popping out of the range again. I stated that, as long as we can stay above the range, above the pivot, I think this is a good longing opportunity with a stop below this wick. Okay. So as you can see, we pushed up a little. I don't really know what we're going to do here, but if we could stay above the pivot, stay above this, range, I think it can still be a potential longing opportunity, because the way I see it is on a 4-hour perspective, all we really did was, we went up a little, dropped down, retested that pivot as support. I think we're trying to retest this trend line that we broke out of as support. And if that happens, we should expect 10,815 again, and possibly if we get above that, we should expect the R1, which is 11,130. Okay, I got stopped out on my long position right here, but there was an opportunity that I presented again yesterday that it's possible that we could get into a long position again. Okay, if anyone wanted to, that is. All right. That's pretty much all that's happened overnight for Bitcoin. Again, it's going to be a very choppy environment, like I've stated, for several days now. As we get into the election time, as we get into the debates, the markets themselves are kind of, reflecting the same thing, right? It's been incredibly choppy so far. None of this really dictates any direction, guys. It's all chop. Okay, there's really no definite direction created. One could argue that maybe, that the next big resistance level is like 3,400, maybe 3,415, somewhere around that area. Way the heck up here, as you can see. Now that we broke above this key area and this key area, so we should be looking forward to 3,400 at least over the next several days, as long as we don't dip back down below again. Okay, in which case, if we're going to push up in the S&P 500, I'm expecting somewhat of a movement again in Bitcoin as well. Okay, and I think that goes along with what happens to things like Ethereum, right? I am expecting ETH to move up too, which probably would be, as long as we stay above this 355 level, first target would be 374 and maybe 380. Okay, but again, the stock market obviously has to cooperate, of course, right? Let's check out Link. Link is literally doing, almost to the T of what we spoke about, which was this key SR level, right? It took out even my 1075 level, went as high as $11.20, and then rolled back over again inside this trend line, meaning inside back under resistance. Okay, so kind of looks like a double top right now. Not confirmed, of course, but something to keep an eye on, because on the daily perspective, all we really did on Link, again, is tap this trend line and then started to roll back over again from that trend line. RSI on Link, it's okay. It's nothing terrible about it. Bounce from oversold right there and now popping up a little bit, but this is still neutral territory. Daily MACD is kind of flipping bullish, so that's a good sign if you're looking forward to that. 4-hour MACD is still flipping bearish now, and we're also coming away from the overbought territory of the 4-hour RSI. So lots of conflicting factors between the 4-hour and daily, but I think for the most part, we can look at the raw technicals and say, well, all we really did was come back towards this trend line right here, reject it, maybe we're rolling back over. Now, rolling back over doesn't necessarily mean that, from here we go all the way down further. It could mean that you might get a double bottom right here and maybe push up, or maybe we chop around this range for a little bit. Okay, any number of things could happen. All that I think will be dependent on what happens to Bitcoin over the next probably several hours, maybe a day or two. Okay, on the 15-minute time frame, I think I talked about this pivot right here. Again, we broke through the pivot to the upside. This is the new daily pivot, right? If we could stay above this pivot, I don't see any reason why we can't reach back towards closer to the R1. I don't know about exactly the R1, because this is now going to be a good amount of resistance, okay? And that's right around 10,840, maybe, I think this marker matches up actually, this 10,815 marker to this 15-minute marker that we just mapped out. So I think it all kind of adds up that 10,800 is the key SR level that we need to actually break above and hold. And if we can break above and hold, then again, we can target these highs and quite possibly the R1. If we cannot, we're probably going to start heading lower. And that's probably going to happen soon. Let's check out the DXY. DXY also rolled over the last several hours, as you can see. So nothing special on the DXY over here as well. This kind of sets us up for a decent day in the stock market, but I also don't like this kind of rollover. I want to see bigger candle spreads heading down, not smaller candle spreads and then, a hammer right here. Okay, this would imply that maybe from here we push up a little. Okay, let me see here. So I heard DOT also moved up a little bit overnight. Let me see here. That's not really doing anything special. It's holding up relatively well. I'll give it that, right? The 4-hour looks like a nice, pretty good bull flag, if you will, ignoring this wick, of course. And I'd stated that at the very least, we should be targeting this area right here, which is around $4.70 for DOT. And then if we get above that, I don't see any reason why we can't can't get to this base right here, which is around $5. Okay, even this, you could look at this as maybe a somewhat of a tilted cup handle, and the measured move from that. I don't know if that's a perfect cup and handle though. It's very weird looking. Yeah, we'll scratch that for now. But horizontals wise, I think we should be looking at 470, break above that, $5, break above that. Then I think this whole chunk right here, the sideways choppiness, this is going to be a lot of resistance. So I would probably expect a good amount of selling coming into this area right around 525 or so. So those are the levels that you want to look out for. Okay, 470, $5, and then 525, 530. Let me see if there's anything else. Let's check out how our THETA trade is doing. THETA is still doing well. Let me see how much we're up. I think we're up a decent amount here. We're up about a good 18-ish%. So that's pretty good. If you haven't checked, again, I mentioned what did I mention? Over here, altcoin analysis. I talked about THETA just yesterday, as well as, where the heck is it? I think about, let me see, right here. I think I talked about it right here. Basically, I did a back test about how THETA is moving similar to Link, how Link did in July. When Bitcoin moved sideways, when Bitcoin bled down a little bit, Link was just perpetually just going up. And I think THETA is doing the same thing. It is, for the most part, ignoring most of the signs of Bitcoin bleeding. And it's actually putting in higher highs, as you can see, right? This was the key high, put in a higher high right there, broke through that, put in another higher high. So, even if we did, so here's how I look at it. Okay, this is a clear cup and handle. Okay, what I showed you on DOT earlier, when it was not perfectly symmetrical. See, you want to see a nice cup and handle that you can see the clear cup from edge to edge, right? And so that's your cup, okay? This is your handle. And so all you do is you measure from that part of the cup over here. And when you break out the handle, which is like right around this area right, okay? The first target is at least 83 to 85 cents, as you can see, okay? And that's exactly my first target that I had listed, TP1, as you can see right there. So I'm still in agreement, and I believe that we should be on our way towards that 83-cent marker, okay, at least. Beyond that, when we get to, $1.30, those are based on fibs. I don't really know how that's going to work out, but hopefully it does. But for now, I'm at least looking forward to taking profit on that 83-cent marker, which should be a good 20-ish, 25% move at least from where we got it. All right, guys. Let me see if there's anything on other metrics that I need to pay attention to. 1 hour OBV looks decent. 4 hour OBV still looks decent. And so this is the thing that I like about OBV is, when you see this kind of drop in candle, you don't want to see OBV starting to head down further and further. Okay, like a big drop in OBV and a big drop in price would indicate that, okay, well, something's clearly wrong. That means buyers are either getting evaporated or sellers are really strong or just buyers are not buying. But this is just an indication, in my opinion, that it's kind of like how we look at price in its higher lows, right? As long as, OBV puts in this low, you want to see this thing maintaining higher lows, okay? That's how I see it. It's not as clear as technicals are where, you can draw out trend lines and higher lows. I look for some basic premise of looking at, key areas of support where OBV bounced off of from a numerical standpoint. And then, of course, make sure that OBV is trending up, okay? So yeah, I think OBV is trending up. 4-hour RSI, as you can see, there was this trend line that I'd drawn. We're bouncing off that. So a lot of good signs, in my opinion, are coming about. Um, I know that this kind of volatility can make people go crazy, but these are the times that we're in, guys. And I've told y'all before, prepare, be careful, and don't get too greedy. Okay. All right, that's it. Cheers. I'll catch up with you through the day.